So Daniel is mourning 3 full weeks. Then he says, in the 24th day of the first month, I was by the side of the great river, which is Hiddekel.
Tigris.
What?
We have the Tigris.
The Tigris.
Yeah, same
What's
thing.
Hebrew?
Yeah, same thing. Okay. So what's he doing by the great river Tigris or Hiddekel? What's he doing there? Okay, the book of Daniel. It's structured chiastically like this. Okay, this is Daniel chapter 1.
What's that, Jeff?
I don't know. I never heard of that before.
This is Daniel chapter 1. This is Daniel chapter 2 and 7, 3 and 6, 4 and 5. So chapter 1 is the kana of the menorah because it deals with kingdom dynamics and the process of going from one kingdom to another kingdom. It's not about being a vegetarian, sorry.
Aww.
Even though that's in there, but it's about kingdom dynamics, explaining kingdom dynamics and how they work. Then what you see that this is the conversion of Nebuchadnezzar. This is the downfall of Belteshazzar. The kings of Babylon prophecies are connected. Here, this is Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the fiery furnace. Daniel 6 is Daniel in the lion's den. These are chiastically paired together. Daniel chapter 2, the image of Daniel 2 and the prophecy of the kingdoms. Daniel chapter 7, the 4 beasts and the prophecies of the kingdoms. These are chiastically paired together. This is the first half of the book of Daniel. Okay? The second half of the book of Daniel, this chi right here, is the 70-week prophecy of Daniel 9. The time is, it seals up vision and prophecy. This is what establishes the time prophecy. Now 9b. Now on this side of the structure, this is Daniel chapter 10, which is Daniel wrestling in prayer for the deliverance of his people. The first part of Daniel 9a is Daniel's prayer. So these are chiastically paired because it's Daniel's prayer and his experience. Okay, this of course is Daniel 8, and this is compared to Daniel 11, and in chapter 7 again is chiastically paired with Daniel 12. So what you have is the chiastic structure, this chiastic structure of the book. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay, so what's happening is that there's these two menorahs, or these two lampstands, standing before the Lord of the earth. Let's go to Zechariah. Mm-hmm. Okay, notice they're connected in the middle.
By 7.
Okay, so what's going on? What is this a picture of? Sanctuary. Throne. In heaven there's a tree. On both sides of the river, but it's how many trees?
One tree.
One. Because where's it connected? It's connected at the top. And there's a tree on both sides of the river, and there's a throne. And from that throne comes
The river of water.
this river, the river of life. And this is called the tree of life. And by the way, this imagery is 1, 2, 3 parts of the kingdom. The kingdom dynamic. So this is why this idea of standing by the river in Daniel chapter 7, there's a vision. Is there a river in the vision of Daniel 7?
Yes.
Yes, the river flows from the throne. By the way, it looks like a river of fire. Why does it look like a river of fire?
Because he is a consuming fire.
It reflects the glory of God, the one on the throne. If you haven't noticed the water, when the sky is blue, what color is the water? When the sky is gray, what color is the water?
Gray.
When there's a sunset in the sky, what's the color of the water?
Yellow.
So the water reflects the light that's shining. So in Daniel 7, there's a river. And by the way, there's messengers who explain. He says in Daniel 7, one of those standing by came and explained to him the vision. Who's one of those standing by? Why is there only one? One of those means there's more than one. One of them came to explain it. Who's standing there? Well, there's two. How did you know?
2 witnesses.
Because there's always 2 witnesses. This is the synagogue, sanctuary, kingdom stuff, right? So they're standing by the river. That's Daniel 7. In Daniel 8, is there a river?
Yes.
And are there witnesses by the river? Yes. By the way, what is the ram and the he goat fighting over?
Oh.
Dominion.
Dominion. And so what are they physically fighting over?
The river.
The place by the river. By the way, this position here is which position?
Oh, the king.
King.
This is the kingship.
Okay.
And this is the priesthood.
Priest.
Oh, right.
So the ram and the he-goat are fighting over what?
King.
This place right here. Right?
Yeah.
That's Daniel 8. And by the way, there's going to be a little horn, and he's going to set himself up. Oh, by the way, there's some little horns right here, and this little horn's going to set himself up as
King.
the true king. Is he the true king?
No.
No.
No. Right? Okay, so now we're in Daniel 7 and Daniel 8, and then we go to Daniel 9, talk about the prophecy. That's what this is all about already. We already mentioned, and that's he's explaining the time. Then you go to Daniel 10, and are we by a river again?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and in Daniel 12, when he explains Daniel 12, are you going to be by a river again?
Probably.
Yes, and how many people are going to be by the river in Daniel 12?
2.
And they're going to be where on the river?
Either side.
On either side of the river. So here's the two witnesses in Daniel 12 on either side of the river. Well, why does Daniel keep talking about this crazy on the side and two witnesses on either side of the river? Why is Daniel talking about that? Because this is kingdom dynamics, and the book of Daniel is about the kingdom of God, the coming of the king and the establishment of the kingdom. That's what the book of Daniel is all about. So this chiastic structure of the book of Daniel is telling you the essence of the story or the meaning of the book of Daniel, which is the king and the establishment of his kingdom. The king in the Bible literally is called a lamp, and this lamp represents the king. So that's the position in question. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen in other places there's also 4 creatures around the throne. There's 24 elders.
That's right.
And it's interesting to note that he saw this on the 24th day of the first month.
Yeah. Yeah. It is interesting to note. And there's the whole 3-week fasting is also, because the number 3 comes in again, and 3s and 7s are combined together with 3 and 7, something about kingdom language out of them. Some of us crazy people, we just see things everywhere. Yeah. So there's lots of things that we could talk about. But the point is, what I'm sharing with you is just obvious, basic. See, if I see this picture, then you're dealing with 3 parts of the kingdom. No matter which prophecy of Daniel I'm dealing with, I'm going to understand the establishment of the 3 parts of God's kingdom. By the way, that's what we're waiting for. Right?
Can you repeat the 3 parts of God's kingdom?
You should just put deity up on the top.
Well, yeah, this
to
is
help
God's
clarify
throne.
the 3rd part.
Yeah.
So
This is the throne of God. In the vision, it's the throne. But in the synagogue, it's actually, this is where the scrolls are kept. So this is a throne. And from the throne in Revelation 22, the river of life flows from the throne. And the tree of life is on either sides of the river. So what they're fighting with is a position on this side of the river. See, this comes from Genesis. In Genesis, there's a Garden of Eden, right? And the Garden of Eden, the center of the garden, how many trees are there?
2.
There's 2. Right? And one is the knowledge of good and evil, one's the tree of life.
Right.
And who was supposed to be taking care of the garden?
Adam.
Adam was the king, wasn't he? And he was supposed to maintain the position, and what was he supposed to do as king?
You just have dominion.
Dominion.
Have dominion and
Be the steward? I don't know.
preserve for his children the way to the tree of life.
Okay.
He was the king.
Okay.
That's the job of the king. It's the job of the king to give life to his people. All the life to his people comes
Everything
through
they
the
need.
king.
Everything they need is to keep.
Is that true? If Adam was faithful, would you be born into death? No, everything was supposed to come through king. He was your way to the tree of life, and he was literally supposed to preserve. The word is preserve. He was supposed to preserve the way to the tree of life for his children. That was his job. Right? Well, the first Adam failed, but that's okay, because guess what? There's another king. And he has preserved the way to the tree of life. And by the way, he's not only preserved the way to the tree of life, he is the tree of life. And he's the water of life. And he's the throne of God, and he's God on the throne. He's all those things.
Amen.
Right? So this is profound stuff. Daniel is seeing something amazing. And you can see in this vision, he's going to behold his king. He's going to see his king, and this is big. This is why he understands. See, all this, he begins to understand it. He begins to see it. And then when he sees this, then he's all the other visions. I got it. I got it. Because once he gets this, he gets it. Does that make sense?
understand.
Once you get Jesus, you get everything. Once you understand and have your relationship with the King of the universe, you have everything you need. And if you need something else, he'll give it to you. But you have what you need. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You can tell why I get excited about this stuff, right?
No.
No.
So what's neat is that all these things, all the details fit together into this analogy.